I'm a housewife in my 40s, living a very ordinary life in the suburbs of America. As a child, I was average in both academics and sports, went on to attend a local state university, and then took a regular office job. I met my husband through a friend's introduction and got married in my mid-20s, and we were blessed with a boy named Liam. I used to long for a glamorous world filled with riches and celebrities, but I was content with this ordinary life and felt happy. Liam, go to bed already. Even though it was past midnight, I had to warn my son who was watching TV in the living room. Oh, Mom, I'll go to bed once this game is over. Since becoming a middle schooler, he's become more engrossed in video games. You know, if you stay up this late, your grades will suffer. I tried to align with the American school system, which cares more about grades than height, but Liam ignored me.
Well, you'll go to bed when this game is over, right?
My husband, who was watching TV with Liam, stepped in to back me up.
Yup, I'll go to bed. I'll go to bed.
Liam quickly agreed with his father's words. It seems like I'm always the villain in these situations. Well, it's fine, I guess. Even though I nagged, I enjoyed spending time with my family. The game ended, and Liam reluctantly went to his room. My husband, sitting next to me, spoke.
Liam made the regular soccer team.
Really, I hadn't heard.
Apparently, there are only 2 freshmen who made it to the regular team, including Liam. I wonder if he takes after me.
My husband joked. Why didn't he tell me something so important? I said, feeling frustrated. Even though my husband often comes home late from work, I spend more time with Liam. Lately, I've been feeling a little lonely because he seems to find it easier to relate to his father, and such occurrences are increasing. Well, I convinced myself that this might just be a step in growing up.
Isn't he going to tell you tomorrow or sometime soon?
My husband said as he brought 2 cans of beer and some snack foods from the fridge. Like this, talking about Liam or trivial things and having a light drink together was our daily routine as a married couple. I felt that our relationship as husband and wife was quite good. After talking to our satisfaction, we went to sleep as usual. We had no idea that our lives would change completely the next day. The next morning, as usual, I sent off Liam and my husband. After breakfast, I washed the dishes, did a light cleaning of the room, and was about to start laundry when I noticed that we were out of the special detergent for delicate clothing. I had completely forgotten that we had run out. I thought I didn't need to put on makeup just to go to the nearby store, so I fixed my hair, grabbed my wallet, and left the house. At the nearest drugstore, I bought Liam's favorite ice cream and some new cheese snacks for my husband and me to eat during our evening drinks. I was walking along in a pleasant mood when I heard a loud crash and an annoying engine sound, followed by a woman's scream. Wondering what had happened, I looked in the direction of the noise and noticed a car coming toward me at an incredible speed. However, in the next moment, I didn't understand anything at all. Mom. Liam's voice was the first thing I heard in my groggy state of consciousness. As I moved my gaze, I saw Liam looking at me with a tearful face, and standing next to him was my husband, wearing a similar expression. When was the last time I saw Liam's face this close? He used to be so small, and I found myself idly thinking how much he had grown to resemble his father. As I was lost in thought, my husband left the room, saying,
I'll call the doctor.
Then I realized I was in a hospital, lying on a bed in a private room. The pain throughout my body and the tubes attached to me quickly helped me understand that I'd been in an accident. But the words I heard from the doctor my husband brought in were hard to accept immediately. A drunk driver had lost control of his car and ignored the pedestrian green light, plowing into several people. 6 individuals, including me, were injured, some severely, and there were fatalities. I had been critically injured but had miraculously survived and regained consciousness the next day. And then came the most devastating news. I would never be able to walk again due to the lasting effects of the accident. My family and I were shocked and overwhelmed by the sudden change in our lives. but we knew that we had to accept the reality and move forward. The following weeks were filled with emotions, challenges, and a realization that life had to be rebuilt in a completely new way. The love and support from my family were unwavering, and though I was grappling with grief for the loss of my previous life, I found strength in their presence. My husband's jokes still made me laugh, and Liam's achievements in school and soccer were a source of pride and joy. Though our daily routine had changed, our bond as a family had not. We faced our new reality together, and though it wasn't easy, we discovered a resilience we didn't know we had. I realized that while the glamorous life I once admired might have seemed alluring, the ordinary life I had with my loved ones was irreplaceable and filled with its own extraordinary beauty. Life had taken an unexpected turn, but in facing it with grace, courage, and love, we found a deeper meaning and a stronger connection with each other. Up until yesterday, my legs moved without a thought, like it was just second nature. But now that they won't move, I just can't believe it. What's going on? Won't they start moving again sometime? I had such baseless hope because moving my legs had always been something I took for granted. But even though I was trying to move them like always, they wouldn't budge as if they weren't my legs at all. I couldn't feel them at all. Though I saw my legs that had moved freely every day, it seemed like they'd stopped moving for good.
It was miraculous that you survived at all. We'll work closely with you on your wheelchair rehabilitation, so let's give it our all together.
The nurses and doctors said. My husband and son didn't know what to say, their faces filled with mixed emotions. I couldn't afford to be weak in front of my family, so all I could do was muster up the courage to say brightly, "At least I'm alive, and that's what matters." As my hospital stay progressed and my wounds began to heal, the next step was to begin rehabilitation with a wheelchair. Using a wheelchair for the first time was much harder than I thought it would be. I was always sore from using muscles in my arms and back that I had never used before. But my upper body was moving at my will, so I devoted myself to rehabilitation enthusiastically. With hard work, I was discharged earlier than expected, and about 6 months later, I returned home. The last place I walked freely was here. Even though I tried to be positive, thoughts like, what if I hadn't gone shopping that day, keep crossing my mind. When I asked my husband, he said that the detergent, ice cream, and snacks were destroyed in the accident. I decided to go shopping again at the local drugstore. But I became scared to go to the site of the accident, and when I tried to go to a different drugstore, I couldn't get in because of the stairs. Returning home, I found that the household chores that had once been routine were now a real struggle. Small differences in level within the house were impassable in my wheelchair, and I couldn't hang the laundry, cook, or clean the bathroom or toilet. I thought the rehabilitation at the hospital had prepared me for this new life. I was wrong. I realized that I could not return to my old life with this body. I felt frustrated, impatient, and miserable. But I did not give up and challenged myself every day to do the housework. I believed that even if I couldn't do everything perfectly, I could still cook and do other tasks with a little ingenuity. About 6 months have passed since I returned home. One evening, after doing the best I could with all the adjustments and hard work, something happened. My husband and son, Liam, were due back around 7 p.m., so I started preparing dinner in the afternoon. Today was our wedding anniversary, and I wanted to surprise them with delicious homemade food, no matter how long it took. I had been working hard on my husband's favorite beef stew and was about to serve it on the table when it happened. My wheelchair tire caught on a piece of lettuce that I had dropped earlier, and in an instant, I lost my balance. I managed to steady myself and didn't fall, but I spilled the beef stew I was holding all over the floor. Oh, this is bad, I thought, and in my haste to turn on the kitchen sink, my hand slipped and the hose got away from me, splashing water all over the floor and walls of the kitchen. On such an important day, I had created the worst mess ever, and my heart sank at the reality of what I'd done. That said, this wasn't the first time I'd messed up while cooking, and my husband had always cleaned up after me without a word. Tears welled in my eyes at my own helplessness, and then my husband came home. He froze when he saw the situation. Normally, my husband would clean up without saying anything, and I would say, "I'm sorry," to his back, and he would always say,
"It's okay."
but today was different. He let out a big sigh and said,
"You don't have to do anything anymore."
From his expression and tone, I knew. He was fed up with me. But I can't do much on my own, and I rely on the family for everything, so I wanted to at least be useful with cooking. And today is our anniversary. I started to say, but my husband cut me off with an exasperated voice.
"If you want to be useful, the best thing you can do is not do anything at all,"
he said. My tears stopped instantly. I realized that I couldn't do anything for my husband or my son Liam anymore. Anything I did was just getting in the way. The only thing I could do was to not do anything at all, to stay out of the way as much as possible. I would have to live like that for the rest of my life. As my husband bent down to clean the kitchen floor, Liam came into the kitchen after returning from sports practice.
"Wow, this is a mess,"
he said. When my husband asked him to fetch a bucket from the bathroom, Liam replied,
"I'm tired from running all day. Do I have to clean again?"
Instead of greeting my family when they came home from work or sports practice, I found myself only tiring them out. I began to question if there was any value in my life. From the next day on, just as my husband told me, I lived trying not to be in the way, moving as little as possible. Either my husband or whoever came home first prepared our meals. Liam and I still conversed, but my husband and I hardly talked anymore. Of course, our usual evening drinks together ended as well. 2 years had passed since the accident that summer. I was not surprised when my husband handed me divorce papers. I knew I could never do anything for him again, and I had nothing left to give. It seemed arrogant even to refuse. My husband said,
"I'm sorry,"
but his face looked extremely tired, and he appeared much older than his age. I had been such a burden. When I signed the divorce papers, I ironically remembered the moment I signed our marriage certificate. I had been filled with excitement for a bright future we had not yet seen. I never, even for a moment, imagined this end. If not for that accident, I would never be signing these papers, and we would have spent our lives together. I can't help but curse my fate.
"Liam will stay with me. I'll provide the money, so you should go to a facility and get taken care of,"
my husband said. I knew that was his sincerest offer. Given the reality, it couldn't be helped, but tears filled my eyes. Being separated from my beloved son was painful. Yet, realistically, I couldn't raise or provide for him anymore, given that I couldn't even manage household chores properly. It was the only way. I believed it was best for Liam's happiness, but I couldn't respond right away, looking down, when suddenly Liam, who had come into the living room, said,
"I want to live with Mom."
It was unexpected for both my husband and me. I was sure that not only my husband, but Liam too must have been fed up with the burden of caring for me.
"Liam, I understand how you feel, but it must be hard for you, too. It's not like you'll never see her again, so think about it calmly,"
my husband reasoned with Liam. Still, Liam was insistent.
"My feelings won't change."
That's all he would say.
"It's true, it's tough. I'm tired from sports practice, and I have college entrance exams this year. Honestly, I've even felt like it's a hassle sometimes. But seeing Mom fight so hard in this situation really moves me."
These words came from Liam, who usually didn't talk much. Tears that had welled in my eyes began to flow uncontrollably down my cheeks.
"We're having a hard time, but Mom's the one who's suffering the most. I want to become someone who doesn't give up and strives hard like Mom. That's why I want to live with her."
Liam stared firmly into me and my husband's eyes as he said this.
"I see. I'm sorry."
My husband apologized again, but the divorce went through in the end. After divorcing my husband, Liam and I moved to a new, smaller home that was friendly to disabled people like me. A helper came every day to assist with the housework. While taking care of me, Liam's hard work in soccer paid off, and he got into high school on a soccer recommendation. In the future, he wants to become a physical therapist to help people who have suffered injuries like mine. I feel there are still many obstacles to overcome, but the words Liam said to me that day gave me new courage. I'm not helpless. I can do the best I can. If that becomes courage for someone else, I will accept this life, this fate that miraculously saved me, and continue to live positively.